before we begin, I want you to take a slow, deep breath. Put your phone down for a moment if you need to. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Because what we are about to do together is not just a quiz. It is not entertainment. It is an invitation from the deepest part of you, the part that does not speak in words, but speaks in feelings and symbols, and the quiet pull you feel towards certain things without knowing why. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in the history of human psychology, spent his entire life studying this invisible language of the soul. He believed, and proved through decades of clinical work, that the unconscious mind is not just a storage room for forgotten memories. It is an active, living intelligence. It communicates with us through dreams, through symbols, through the things we're drawn to before our logical mind has a chance to interfere. And today, we are going to use one of the most ancient symbols in human history to unlock that communication. We're going to use keys. Throughout human civilization, from ancient Egypt to medieval Europe to the mystical traditions of the East, the key has represented one single, universal idea: access to what is hidden. A key opens what is locked, and what is locked, according to Jung, is usually the most important truth about who we are. So in a moment, I am going to show you 5 keys. They are different in shape, in energy, in what they seem to carry. And you are going to trust your first instinct completely. Do not analyze. Do not think about what you want the answer to be. Just look, feel, and choose. The part of you that will make this choice is not your thinking mind. It is something older, wiser, and far more honest. Before I show you the keys, let me explain something important that will make your result far more meaningful. Jung discovered that within the feminine psyche, there exists what he called the 4 core archetypes of the inner world. The maiden, who carries innocence and new beginnings. The mother, who holds a power of nurturing and boundless love. The wise woman, who carries ancient knowing and inner authority. And the wild woman, who holds the primal, undomesticated power of the authentic self. Every woman carries all 4 of these energies within her. But at any given point in life, one of them is calling for attention. One of them is trying to reach the surface. And the key you choose today will reveal which one is speaking to you right now, in this exact season of your life. Now I want you to take one more breath. Clear your mind, and look at the 5 keys I am about to describe to you. Picture each one clearly in your mind as I describe it. The first key is slender and made of silver. It has a long, delicate handle with a small crescent moon carved into the top. There are tiny engravings along its length that look almost like writing in a language you don't recognize, but somehow feel you understand. It is cool to the touch, elegant, quiet, like it belongs to someone who keeps beautiful secrets. The second key is made of old, dark iron. It is large and heavy. The handle is shaped like a tree with spreading roots at the bottom and branches at the top. It looks like it has been passed down through generations, like it has opened 100 doors before yours. There is weight to it, not just physical weight, but a sense of history, of depth, of something that cannot be rushed. The third key is made of gold. It is ornate, almost excessive in its beauty. The handle is shaped like a sunburst, radiating outward in all directions. It catches light easily. It is the kind of key you would imagine belonging to a palace. There is a confidence to it, an unapologetic brightness, like it was made to be seen and to open something magnificent. The fourth key is small, almost surprisingly small. It is made of simple brass, slightly worn at the edges. The handle is a simple circle, a perfect, unbroken loop. It looks ordinary at first, but the more you look at it, the more you notice something. There is a symbol etched into the circle that you almost missed, a spiral, growing inward toward its center. This key does not announce itself, but it carries something ancient. The fifth key is made of dark wood wrapped with copper wire at the top. It looks handcrafted, made by someone rather than manufactured. The handle is shaped like an owl in flight, its wings spread wide. The wood is smooth, like it has been held many times before. It feels warm, alive, like something you'd find on a forest path, and know immediately that it was meant for you. Have you chosen? Trust the one that called to you. Hold it in your mind. And now let us go deeper. If you chose the silver key with the crescent moon, your soul is in a maiden phase right now, even if that word surprises you. This does not mean you are young or inexperienced. The Maiden archetype in Jung's framework represents a powerful beginning energy, the part of you that stands at the threshold of something new and feels both terrified and exhilarated. The crescent moon is one of the oldest feminine symbols in existence. It represents what is not yet full, what is becoming rather than what already is. If this key called to you, there is something inside you that is trying to be born, a version of yourself that has not yet been given permission to exist. And the most significant thing your unconscious mind is communicating to you right now is this. You've been waiting for someone or something to give you permission to begin, but the key is already in your hand. Jung wrote extensively about the wound of the maiden, which is the wound of waiting. Many women who carry strong maiden energy right now were told at some point in their lives that they needed to earn the right to take up space, that they needed to be ready before they could begin, that they needed to have everything figured out before they could trust themselves. Your choice of the silver key is your unconscious saying, loudly and clearly, that the waiting is over, something is ready to open, and you are the one who has to turn the key. The specific pattern of the engravings on this key, those symbols that feel familiar but cannot be read, are deeply significant from a Jungian perspective. They represent your own inner wisdom that has been stored but not yet accessed. You have more answers inside you than you currently believe. The silver key is a permission slip your soul has been writing for you for a long time. The question is not whether you are ready. The question is whether you are willing to believe that you are. If you chose the iron key shaped like a tree, you are being visited right now by what Jung called a great mother archetype. But I want to explain this carefully, because most people misunderstand what the mother archetype actually means in depth psychology. This is not about whether you are a mother in the literal sense. The great mother archetype is about the capacity to hold, to create conditions in which life can grow, to be the kind of presence that makes others feel safe enough to become themselves. And critically, it is also about your relationship with your own inner life, whether you are giving yourself the same nourishment you give to everything and everyone else. The iron key shaped like a tree is one of the most powerful symbols your unconscious could have offered you today. Iron represents permanence, endurance, something that does not dissolve under pressure. And the tree represents the fundamental truth that Jung observed in every culture's mythology, that what grows above the ground is fed by what grows below it. Your visible life is fed by your invisible roots. And right now, your unconscious mind is drawing your attention downward, into the roots, into what sustains you, into what has been depleted by giving without replenishing. There is a question this key is asking you, and it is one of the most important questions in Jungian feminine psychology. What are you nurturing, and who is nurturing you? If the answer to the first part of that question is a very long list, and the answer to the second part is silence, then this key is not just a symbol. It is a message, a deep, urgent message from the part of you that has been quietly starving while feeding everything else. The tree grows in both directions. You cannot cut the roots and keep the branches. If you chose the golden key shaped like a sunburst, your soul is in conversation right now with what Jung called the animus integration. Specifically, the phase of animus integration that deals with inner authority and self-expression. Let me explain what this means, because it is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood aspects of Jungian feminine psychology. Jung believed that within every woman exists what he called the animus, a masculine energy that, when integrated rather than projected outward, becomes a source of extraordinary power. Not power over others, but power within oneself. The power to act, to decide, to create, to speak one's truth without apology. The gold sunburst key is radiantly clear in its symbolism. The sun, across virtually every human culture and recorded history, represents consciousness, clarity, and the illuminating power that makes what is hidden visible. Gold represents what is most valuable, most worth keeping, most worth protecting. The woman who chooses this key is being called right now to stop dimming herself, not in an aggressive or performative way, but in a very quiet, very radical way. The call is to let yourself be seen as you actually are, not the version of you that has been carefully edited to make other people comfortable. The actual you, the one with the opinions and the fire and the specific way of seeing things that no one else sees. Jung observed that many women who carry strong, unintegrated animus energy spend years sometimes entire lifetimes, either suppressing their inner authority entirely or projecting it outward and becoming frustrated when other people don't live up to the standard they hold for themselves. The golden key is an invitation out of both of those patterns. It is asking you to claim the authority that has always been yours. And it is asking you to do it now. In this season, while the light is available, the door this key opens is one you have been standing in front of for a very long time. If you chose the small brass key with the spiral, I want you to take a moment with what I am about to tell you, because your unconscious mind made a very significant choice today. The spiral is one of the oldest spiritual symbols in human existence. It appears in cave paintings from 30,000 years ago. It appears in Celtic stone carvings. It appears in the architecture of ancient temples, and in the structure of galaxies, and in the growth pattern of every living shell. Jung encountered the spiral in the unconscious material of his patients again and again, and he came to understand it as a symbol of the individuation process itself, the journey of becoming fully, authentically, wholly yourself. The woman who chooses a small brass key is in a profound internal process right now. Even if the outside of her life looks relatively unchanged, something is turning inward, spiraling deeper. And this can feel, from the inside, very much like uncertainty, like confusion, like a loss of the clarity you once felt about who you are and what you want. But Jung's great insight about the spiral was this. It only looks like it's going in circles if you're looking at it from the side. If you look at it from above, you see that every revolution of the spiral is actually moving toward something, moving inward, moving toward the center. And the center, in Jungian psychology, is the self, the core of the personality that exists beneath all the roles, all the adaptations, all the ways we have learned to present ourselves to the world. The small brass key chose you because you're in a phase of returning to yourself. And returning to yourself is not always comfortable, but it is always, always worth it. What feels like confusion right now is actually discernment in progress. What feels like emptiness is actually space being cleared. Trust the spiral. Trust the inward turn. The center is closer than it feels. And if you chose a wooden key shaped like an owl, your soul is speaking the language of the wise woman archetype, and doing so in urgency that I want you to receive fully. The owl has been associated with feminine wisdom across cultures for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, the owl was sacred to Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategic intelligence. In indigenous traditions across multiple continents, the owl is understood as a creature that sees clearly in the dark, that perceives what is hidden from ordinary vision. And the wooden key shaped like an owl is your unconscious sending you a message about a specific kind of knowing that you have been carrying and perhaps not fully trusting. Jung called this knowing the Sophia, the feminine principle of wisdom that is not arrived at through analysis or logic, but through lived experience, through feeling, through the accumulated understanding that comes from having paid attention to life over a long period of time. The woman who chooses this key has deep knowing inside her. She often knows things before she can explain how she knows them. She reads situations and people with remarkable accuracy. And very often, far too often, she second-guesses that knowing. She waits for confirmation. She asks for validation of what she already deeply understood. The message of the wooden owl key is this. Stop waiting for permission to know what you already know. The wisdom you carry is not accidental, and it is not arrogance. It is a result of having been genuinely present for your own life. Jung wrote that the wise woman archetype only fully comes into her power when she stops measuring her knowing against external standards and begins to trust it as a primary source. This is not about becoming arrogant or closed to new information. It is about giving your own inner knowing the same credibility you give to everything else. The owl sees in the dark, and you are being asked to trust that you do too. Whatever key you chose today, I want to leave you with something that sits at the heart of everything Carl Jung spent his life trying to teach. He said that the most terrifying thing in the world is to accept oneself completely, and he said it was also the most necessary. The unconscious mind is not your enemy. It is the most loyal ally you will ever have. It stores what needs to be kept. It surfaces what needs to be faced. It speaks in symbols because symbols carry truths that are too large and too layered to fit inside ordinary language. The key you chose today did not reveal something foreign to you. It revealed something that was already entirely, completely yours. If something in this video moves something inside you, even something you can't fully name yet, that is worth paying attention to. Jung believed that the moment of recognition, that quiet internal yes, is not nothing. It is a first sign that the door is beginning to open. Take care of what you discovered today. Be curious about it. Be gentle with it. And whatever you do not leave the key in the door and walk away. Open it. Walk through. Whatever is waiting on the other side of that door has been waiting a very long time for you to arrive.